In this video, we'll be creating a virtualized lab environment using the SANS SiFT Forensics Workstation. In order to get the necessary skills to become a cybersecurity analyst, you got to practice. And in order to do that, you really need a lab. We're going to go ahead and set up a lab. It'll be a three-part series. The first part will be setting up SANS SiFT, which is an instant response and forensics workstation. Then we'll set up Kali, which is a Linux distribution for attacking a network. Then we'll set up the Security Onion, which is a network security monitoring distribution. Those tools will give us the necessary skills to move forward and become a cybersecurity analyst. Those are the three basic things you're going to have to do. So we'll use Vmware Player. We'll install it on a laptop. We need to make sure we got enough, hardware specifications for the laptop or the workstation. You need multi-cores, obviously. An i7 with quad cores is perfect. More RAM is better. Minimum of probably 8 gig. I would suggest 16 or even 32 if your laptop will support it. Lots of hard drive space because you're going to have multiple VMs, and one of them is going to be collecting log data. So let's go ahead and get started with a pretty good size VMDK for the Security Onion distribution. I'd probably say at least 100 gig. We're also going to need to probably make sure you got plenty of speed on that. So if you have SSD, that's best. If not, maybe a couple of external hard drives, USB 3, that would give you some pretty decent speed. Before you install the VMware Workstation player, you probably need to make sure you've turned on virtualization in the machine's BIOS, and go ahead and restart it, then install VMware Player. Once you get that installed, you need to create a folder on your space where you're going to store your VMs called SecOps VM or something along those lines. Inside of that, you want to create 3 more folders. You want to create one called SiFT, one called Kali, and one called Security Onion. In those is where we're going to install the VMs. Now you might as well go ahead and start downloading the SANS SiFT VM right now. You can go to SANS, the link will be in the bottom, and you may have to create an account. It's no big deal, they don't spam you. Grab the OVA and go ahead and put it in the folder that you created for SANS, for SiFT. Also, SANS has a great site called the Internet Storm Center, the ISC, and that's a great resource. You should read that every day as an analyst. To install the OVA, we're actually importing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and open a virtual machine, and you're going to browse to where you've put the OVA, and it should be in the SiFT folder. Now what you want to do is you want to change the storage path of it to coincide with that same folder. This is just to make things easier to manage. You could put it anywhere if you'd like, but this is where you probably want to put it. Then you just hit import. And now through the magic of video, we'll speed this up. This should only take a few minutes. Just depends on the speed of your system. Okay, now that that has finished up, let's go ahead and check out the virtual machine settings. And you can see it's got 2 gigs of memory, 2 processors, a hard disk that's 100 gig, and the networking adapter is NAT. That's kind of important. Want to make sure that's NAT. Then we're going to go ahead and increase the RAM to 4 gig. Go ahead and save it, and then go ahead and play the virtual machine. It'll take it a second to boot up here, but once it boots up, this should act as if it was on real hardware, and you should not have any issues with it. Now the default username is SANS Forensics, and the default password is Forensics. So once you type those in, you'll get a VM in a very small window, but just go ahead and hit the icon to make it full screen. Now it's kind of dulled out right now because it has a terminal that's a transparent terminal that's laying on top of it, but you can go ahead and open up other applications just as if this was a normal VM or a normal machine that was sitting on hardware. So here I've opened up another terminal. You can type in a few commands and see what's up with the system. So right here you can see the hard drive space, and of course that's all virtualized. And this machine will give us all the tools that we need, and we'll start looking at those in a separate videos, because what we're going to want to do is go over each tool in depth. This tutorial right here was just getting the SiFT workstation up and running. And once we get that running, then we'll go ahead and add the other two VMs for tools, and then a couple of guinea pigs, one Windows, one Linux for starters. But as you can see, this machine has a lot of stuff on it already, and it operates just as if you had installed it on a normal piece of hardware. Now there are some pretty good documentation pieces, some posters, some docs that are on the desktop by default with SANS. I recommend you check some of these out. It's pretty good information. And the one that you'll probably use a lot will be the cheat sheet for SiFT, because it tells you a lot of shortcuts on how this thing's put together that may not be obvious. Simple things like mounting drives and looking at memory, things like that. You'll also see there's two folders up there, one for mount points. In particular is one that you probably want to look at. But we'll go over all those as we need to. Alright, if you've liked this video, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll get notified every time we have new videos. And if you liked it, give us a thumbs up. Thanks.